Welcome to Fearbound Stories. Please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. Now let's begin. Halloween 2019 was my first one living completely alone. I had just moved into a small rental house outside of Denver, a quiet neighborhood where people kept to themselves. I had no roommates, no family nearby, and didn't know any of the neighbors yet. That was the idea. Space, quiet, a fresh start. The house was small but cozy, and I was excited for the first real fall in a long time. I carved a jack-o'-lantern, hung a string of orange lights across the porch, and bought 2 big bags of candy from the grocery store, even though I didn't expect many trick-or-treaters. Still, I wanted to feel festive. At around 6 p.m., I placed a plastic bowl full of candy on a small bench near the front door with a handwritten sign. "Please take one. Happy Halloween." I figured I'd leave the porch light on, watch a scary movie, and let the kids come and go while I stayed inside. And for the first few hours, that's exactly what happened. Around 9:30 p.m., I paused the movie and stepped out to check the candy. But the bowl was gone. At first, I thought maybe the wind knocked it over. I looked around the porch. Nothing. No bowl, no candy wrappers, no scattered pieces on the ground. It was just missing. I assumed some teen had taken it. Not cool, but not the end of the world. But then I saw it. Written on the top wooden rail of the porch, in what looked like black Sharpie. I took one. That stopped me. It wasn't funny, it wasn't clever, it was just weird. Something about the phrasing felt wrong. Not like a joke, more like a warning. I scrubbed the marker off, locked the door, turned off the porch light, and tried to forget about it. But I couldn't sleep. Something about the silence outside made me feel like someone was still out there. At around 1:15 a.m., I heard a knock. Not at the front door, but at the kitchen door on the side of the house. The one no one ever uses. 3 slow knocks. I froze. Then the motion light outside flicked on. I moved to the kitchen window, pulled the curtain back an inch, and peered outside. There, standing just outside the pool of light, was someone in a red hoodie and a cheap Halloween mask. White plastic, cartoonish, but smeared with something dark across the mouth. They were holding my candy bowl. Just standing there, not moving, not saying anything. I backed away from the window, quietly locked the deadbolt, and called the police. They arrived within 10 minutes, but the figure was gone. No bowl, no footprints, nothing. But one of the officers called me over to the side window and pointed at the glass. There, traced in the fog with a fingertip, were the words. I only took one. They said it was probably a Halloween prank, a messed up one, sure, but not illegal. They recommended cameras. I bought a doorbell cam the next day. Nothing happened for a while, until November 6th. That morning, I woke up to a motion alert on my phone. Footage from 2:14 a.m. The video showed the same figure, red hoodie, white mask, standing at the end of my driveway. Just standing, facing the camera. For 6 full minutes. Then they turned around and walked off into the dark. I sent the footage to the police. They filed a report, but again, no action. I tried to convince myself it was over, but I stopped sleeping well. I started hearing things. The creak of the porch boards at night. Light taps on the side window. A quiet rustling sound near the back fence, like someone dragging their fingers along it. Every sound made me flinch. Then came Christmas morning. I stepped outside to grab a package and stopped cold. There, sitting neatly on my porch, in the exact spot the jack-o'-lantern had sat on Halloween, was the candy bowl. It looked freshly cleaned. Inside weren't candy wrappers, but teeth. Human teeth, dozens of them, some dark and cracked, some still white. And nestled at the bottom, a single fun-sized candy bar, same brand I'd bought for Halloween. There was no note, no name, no camera footage. I moved out 2 weeks later. I didn't take the bowl with me, and I never decorate for Halloween anymore. If you ever leave candy out, just know that some people take more than sweets. Some people come back, and some were already watching. Halloween 2016 was supposed to be quiet. My mom was out of town for a work trip. I was 17, old enough to watch the house and babysit my 12-year-old brother Ryan for the weekend. We lived in a small town outside Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the kind where everyone knew each other, and Halloween was treated like a local holiday. Our street, Ash Pine Lane, was known for going all out. Skeletons on roofs, motion-activated screams, whole families dressed up together. And it brought in hundreds of trick-or-treaters from neighboring areas. It was the one time of year our sleepy neighborhood actually felt alive. My mom had left me with bags of candy, strict instructions to keep the house locked, and a warning not to let Ryan eat too much sugar. I lit the jack-o'-lantern, turned on the porch light, and sat up by the window with a horror movie playing low in the background. Ryan stood by the door, loving every second, handing out candy, guessing costumes, laughing with the kids. Everything was normal, until it wasn't. It started around 9:10 p.m. The flow of kids had slowed. The street was thinning out. Ryan had gone to refill his plastic pumpkin bucket with what he'd saved from earlier. Then he came to me and said, "Why is that guy just standing there?" I looked outside. Across the street, maybe 10 feet behind the neighbor's hedge, stood a tall figure, dressed in what looked like a scarecrow costume, flannel shirt, patchy pants, and a burlap sack over the head, stitched mouth, black button eyes. The sack was cinched tight at the neck, like it was sewn directly to the costume. At first, I figured it was just a teenager pulling a scare prank, maybe waiting to jump out and scare some late trick-or-treaters. But the longer we looked, the weirder it felt. He wasn't moving, not swaying, not adjusting, just standing facing our house. Ryan whispered, "He was closer a minute ago." I blinked. "What?" He pointed. When I came in, he was on the sidewalk. Now he's behind the hedge. My stomach dropped. I locked the front door, closed the curtain, tried to shake it off, but something about that figure, that stillness, that it didn't feel like a prank. It felt wrong, heavy. Around 9:45 p.m., we turned off the porch light and called it a night. I went into the kitchen, started bagging up candy, told Ryan to go brush his teeth and get ready for bed. 2 minutes later, I heard him call my name, not in a playful tone. He sounded scared. "Did you open the back door?" I stepped into the hallway. The back door, the one that led to our fenced backyard, was wide open. Cold air blew in, leaves scattered on the tile, and in the faint light from the microwave clock, I saw them. Footprints, dirty, muddy, leading from the yard into the kitchen, and toward the hallway, where Ryan had just come from. I grabbed the bat we kept behind the pantry door and ran room to room. Ryan stayed behind me, silent, breathing fast. Every closet, every corner, empty. The police came quickly, small town response time. They searched the house, even brought a dog to sweep the backyard. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. No fingerprints. They said it was probably a prank. Someone saw the door unlocked and wanted to scare us. But they missed something. On the kitchen counter, where Ryan had dumped his candy bucket earlier, sat a single piece of candy. Not the kind we gave out. Not even something I'd seen sold locally. It was wrapped in dull orange paper, hand-twisted at both ends. The paper was faded, like it had been in someone's pocket for days. On top, written in pen, "For Ryan." He didn't touch it, neither did I. That night, Ryan slept in my room. We double-locked the doors. I pushed a dresser in front of the hallway. We didn't speak about it, but sometime around 2:55 a.m. I woke up. I didn't hear anything. I just felt it. I got up, went to the living room, slowly opened the curtain, and there he was, the scarecrow. Same height, same clothes, same stitched mask. Standing across the street again. Only this time, his head was tilted, looking directly at our house. 3 months later, we moved out. My mom didn't even argue. She said she didn't feel good in the house anymore. And honestly, I didn't either. Ryan stopped dressing up for Halloween after that. He didn't say why, he didn't have to. But here's the worst part. Every year since then, on October 31st, no matter where we live, Ryan finds a single piece of that same candy on our doorstep. Same dull orange wrapper, same twisted ends. Every time. For Ryan. In 2013, my wife and I bought our first home, a cozy two-story in a quiet cul-de-sac outside Eugene, Oregon. It was the kind of place where mailboxes still had flags, neighbors waved from their driveways, and Halloween was a serious tradition. That fall, our daughter Emily had just turned 5. She was the kind of kid who loved everything spooky, not scary, spooky. Skeleton pajamas, singing pumpkins, hocus pocus on repeat. She had chosen her costume months in advance, a red and black witch dress with a sparkly hat and a little toy broom that lit up at the handle. It was our first Halloween in that house and we were excited. We carved pumpkins, strung up orange lights, and filled 2 giant plastic cauldrons with candy. My wife even stitched a custom sign for the porch. Take one, be kind, ghosts are watching. That night, Emily, my wife, and I set out through the neighborhood, trick-or-treating as a family. We walked a few blocks, waving to neighbors and commenting on costumes. It was wholesome, lively, and full of laughter. Emily darted from door to door while we followed behind, snapping photos. We returned just after 9 p.m., and while Emily sorted her candy on the living room floor, I stepped outside to grab the bowl we had left out. The porch light was still glowing, but the candy bowl? Still full. That was strange. The neighborhood was busy, kids everywhere, and we'd been gone over an hour. I picked up the bowl. It was heavier than it should have been. Not candy heavy, Haslet heavy. I took it inside, dumped the contents onto the kitchen table, and among the wrappers, chocolate bars, and lollipops, something slid out and landed with a flat thunk. A Polaroid photo of Emily. It wasn't one we had taken. She was standing at the edge of someone's driveway, not ours, smiling and holding out her bucket. Her face was in focus. The background was slightly blurred, like it had been taken quickly, from a distance. She looked happy, but we had no memory of it. No matching photo on our phones. No one in the family had taken it. We called Emily into the room. She looked at it and smiled. That was from the man with the weird voice. He said my costume was perfect. My wife and I locked eyes. What man? I asked. He had gloves on, and his mouth didn't move when he talked, but he was nice. That was the moment the night changed for me. We searched her candy pile, looking for anything strange. There was just one piece, a candy neither of us had ever seen. Wrapped in matte black foil, twisted at the ends. No logo, no barcode, just a faint red wax seal pressed into the center. I opened the wrapper. Inside was a hard grayish candy, chalky and cold to the touch. No smell. I tossed it in the trash immediately. Emily didn't resist, but I couldn't shake the tension in my chest. At 2:03 a.m., the doorbell rang. I was still awake, sitting on the couch with the living room lights off, replaying the photo in my mind. I froze, then slowly moved to the window and peeked through the blinds. Standing under the porch light was a child-sized figure, wearing a burlap mask, stitched smile, button eyes, and a black cloak that dragged slightly at the hem. No visible skin. In one hand, a small orange candy bucket. In the other, a Polaroid, held up to the door. I couldn't see the image, but I knew what it was. I didn't move. Didn't open the door. Just watched. After nearly a full minute, the figure lowered the Polaroid, turned, and walked down the driveway. Not rushed, not playful. Deliberate. Controlled. Gone. The next morning, I checked the porch. No candy, no photo. But when Emily woke up and went to her room, She found something on her windowsill. Another piece of that black-wrapped candy. No wax seal this time. Instead, on the wrapper, written in jagged red ink, "See you next year." We moved 6 months later. Out of state. New house. New city. No social media updates. We didn't tell anyone our new address except immediate family. Halloween came again. We kept the lights off. No costumes, no decorations. And still, on the morning of November 1st, Emily found it again. On the inside of her bedroom windowsill. That same candy, same wrapper, same words. "See you next year." It's been 10 years. Every Halloween without fail, one black-wrapped candy appears. Sometimes in her room, sometimes in her backpack, once under her pillow. We don't know how, we don't know who. But last year, for the first time, the message changed. This time it said, "She's almost ready." You've just crossed the boundary between reality and the unknown. If you felt the fear tonight, make sure to subscribe before you leave, because on this channel, every story is just the beginning. New nightmares arrive every few nights, each one darker than the last. Until then, keep your lights low, your doors locked, and your mind open. You are now part of the fear-bound family.